me, how did you end up with me? Like, how, out of all the guys you could have called, why did you call me? You didn't know me from nobody. And he said, to be honest with you, I called Scott Grover, and Scott Grover said that's the perfect guy for that event. For where he wants to go, for what he wants to do, you're going to enjoy him. He's good. And so, again, without me knowing, somebody stepped out and put their neck out on the line and said, this kid can do it. And
they believed in you.
They believed in me. And so there's a story in the Bible that says that God healed a paralyzed man because of his friends. And I believe that the circle of people you surround yourself with will dictate the course of your life.
And who you become.
And if you surround yourself with godly people, people that really believe in themselves, that really are confident in their ability, the people that want you to win will help you win. And so Scott does that, and he tells me that, and I'm like, all right, wow. Again, Scott comes out,
gave you a lot of love,
and he helps me out. Now, Scott's not a guy who's going to text you every day. He's not going to call you every day. You might text him or something, but he never fails to respond back to you. If I have a question, he always is there to answer the question. So I do that, and now I'm in this pipeline, right? There's levels to this game. There's amateur rodeo announcers, there's pro rodeo announcers, there's bull riding announcers.
Yep.
I love rodeo, but I was a bull rider. From the time I was 2 years old, I wanted to be a world champion bull rider. That did not happen to me, unfortunately. Not because it was something that I did or didn't do. It just wasn't in the design that God had put together. But what he did do is he gave me enough knowledge about bull riding to understand the game.
Right.
And so as I'm going through this rodeo announcing career, my goal is to be at the PBR and announce on tour and do these team deals that we're going to see tomorrow and Tuesday. And I've just been very blessed and fortunate, man. I tell you, I've made so many mistakes, and I have burned bridges that I never intended to burn, and I've hurt people that I didn't mean to hurt out of ignorance and out of immaturity and just being a young man trying to figure out what you're going to do in your life, And
it's in the past.
Yeah, and in 2017, I told my mom and dad, I said, hey, I want to get baptized. And they said, oh, that's great. They were really involved with the church, and it was a mega church. It's a church that has about, on any given Sunday, there's probably close to 5,000 people there between two services. So December 17th, 2017, I went to church, and my Pastor Phil, he said, are you ready? And I said, I've never been more ready to nod my head in my life.
That's cool.
And so we get up in there, and I got a tattoo on my forearm that says he is greater than I. And I got that tattoo as soon as I got out of the Army. And so I'm sitting in the tub, and he's telling 2,500 people in there, like, hey, Skip's a bull rider. He knows tough things. He knows hard things. But this is a decision that he had to make by himself, and he came to chose God as a Savior. So he dunks me. I get up. I walk out of the pool, and I take about 3 steps, and I hit my knees. I could not stand up, and I was crying like a newborn baby. I mean, I could not understand the overwhelming love of God in that moment. And
it's pretty powerful, buddy.
I can tell you this, who's ever watching this podcast, and I don't mean to be preaching, but when you have an opportunity, I think that you should. The power of God can knock you to your knees and save your life at the same time. And he rose me up. He changed my life. He changed who I am inside. He changed me as a man. He made me a husband. I live with that conviction every day.
It's awesome.
I got married to my wife in 2020. And I told her on that day, I said, look, I'm not going to be the most perfect guy, because I'm not. But I will do my best to be the best version of myself for you every day. And, man, I'll tell you what, since 2020, since 2017, I have been so blessed to be able to be behind the mic almost 40 weeks a year.
Wow.
There's a lot of guys I look up to. There's a lot of guys that I want their job. I think that Gary Urigan's great. but I think that I'm a little better. I think that Bob Tallman's outstanding, but I also think that I want to be remembered like him. I want to be the voice of rodeo. And so that's my goal, man. That's my deal. And I don't mind sounding a little bit cocky about it.
It's not cocky, it's confidence.
I think if you're going to step out and you're going to be the best, like I said before, there's levels to this game. And I didn't come into this game wanting to be, at the amateur level. I came into this game wanting to be on the best level. And that best level to me is the PBR Tour. And I've been fortunate enough to, rub elbows with guys that have changed my life in that way and have given me the ability to go talk on a microphone in front of thousands of people. And, it's life's a ride, dude. Life's a ride.
Ooh, is it ever? Is it ever? And that's a roller coaster ride.
I mean, when you think you're doing good, and the next time you look around, your wheels are falling off the truck.
That's it. But you know what? It's
like
anything.
Keep getting up.
You do. Keep getting up. Keep getting on.
You have to. You got to keep getting on. And I've been bucked down quite a bit of times in my life, and every time I get bucked down, I get up and I just go, that smarts. That hurts a little bit.
But you're like, on. Is that the best you got?
Yeah,
because I'm gonna get you again. Yeah, I'm gonna beat you the next
run
time.
Him in here again. I'd like to put my rope on him one more time. And I've been on a few podcasts and I've talked about this not that way. I've never told that story in its entirety.
I appreciate that story, man.
And I hope it resonates with somebody. I hope that somebody hears it, and I hope it brings somebody to Christ, and I hope it brings somebody to realize that it doesn't matter how dark hell is for you. God is the light of the world. He can bring you to it. Now it's 2023.
Yeah.
And I don't have a job. My job is talking on a microphone. My job is announcing rodeos. We just got done with 2 days of rodeo on Friday, Saturday. Drove up here all night long.
He's been burning at both ends. I appreciate you. Yeah. I appreciate you getting up here because I know what you had to go through to get here, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Well, man, I appreciate letting me be on here, and I think the most important thing I need to highlight here is that, for you guys that listen to the podcast, that Jimmy and his wife sell real estate. Jimmy calls me one day and he's like, hey.
Here we go.
He goes, hey, you have any interest in being a real estate agent? And I said, nope, not at all. No, thank you. And I hung the phone up.
I'm going to clarify, not real estate. Not really simply real estate, but ranch real estate.
Yeah.
Come on,
so cowboy real estate,
yes.
Farm and ranch. And so I said no, and I turned him down, and so I just told him this story. So I've been in the landscape business pretty much since I could, get a job, and I was digging a hole for a lady who owned a really expensive home, and she came outside and she said, hey, what's it going to cost to put X amount of trees in? And I told her, and she said, that's a lot of money. And I said, well, it's a lot better than seeing somebody, let somebody see you in your house use the restroom. And she said, that's a good point. Put 6 more trees in. So I put my shovel down. I called Jimmy back. It's probably about an hour after we had talked.
If it was an hour, it was 59 minutes.
Yeah, maybe. So I called Jimmy back and I said, hey, I need hard numbers. I need to know what it is, the real deal. And he didn't give me any BS. He told me the deal, and he gave me real numbers, and I said, okay. I said, I'll do it. So I'm about halfway through that process now. I'm getting my real estate license here in Colorado and, eventually Wyoming. And, the goal is that
Ranch, Colorado.
I want to bring people in a relationship type way, because I know the cowboy way of life. I know what it means to take care of cattle and horses, and I know what that livelihood feels like, and I know what it means to have good ground, and I know what it means to have good grass to feed your cows with. And the more people that I can fellowship with and build a relationship with, and help them prosper and be fruitful in what they're doing, is going to help me be a better man. And I think that selling farm and ranch real estate outside of rodeo now is really one of the only occupations you can have that'll allow you.
Dude, it's all the same.
You know what I mean?
I'll say it again. It's all the same people.
Yeah.
That we've been around all our lives. It's how we grew up. It's the same industry, and it all feeds each other. And you're right. It's all about relationships.
Well, and if I come to you and I want a 10,000 square foot, high rise Penthouse Suite, I'm talking to the wrong guy.
I'm gonna say, Vanessa,
Yeah,
help this guy.
Right. So I want people to be able to come to me with the confidence that, hey, this guy knows what I need.
Right.
He knows what I want.
Right.
And be able to deliver that to them in a way, the same way that I go about my announcing. Right. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so, Ranch Colorado's coming soon, and
so excited for this guy.
You know, we're
so excited.
We're stoked to sell what they're not making anymore, man. And they don't make any more grass. You know,
buy dirt. How
buy
many times
dirt,
did I say that?
Yeah, buy dirt.
People get sick of me, I guarantee you.
Well,
buy dirt.
You know, like if they get sick enough, they'll come buy dirt from you. You know, and so just being around rodeo and horses and stuff, it just made sense to me. And I had the blessing of my wife. Thank goodness that she was like, "All right, well,
excited.
You know, go on with yourself." And right on. So here we are. Man.
Here we are,
Cheyenne, Wyoming, and
here we go,
rodeoing full time.
So I met this cat last year at NFR, and so we're now both of us, me and my wife Vanessa, just partnered up with these guys for the coolest and biggest watch party at NFR in Vegas. So I'm gonna go ahead and preface that now.
Yeah.
But that's where I met Skip last year.
Yeah.
And
so that was a fun deal, man. We had went into that deal kind of blind. Like we had no idea what that was going to generate, what that was going to be. I can get on a microphone and do my job, and I can do that all day.
You can
put me in a stage hall.
Killed it.
You can put me in a rodeo arena. I can do it. But the Westgate had not had a watch party in over 10 years.
Right.
And we met with the beverage and food director there at the Westgate, and we told him, hey, you need to have this beer, this whiskey, Pennington whiskey. And he said, okay, we can do that. Well, day 3, they sold out of beer.
I remember that.
They didn't have enough.
No, I remember that. I was like,
are
you kidding me?
I went to the bar to get a beer, and they were like, we don't have it. And I said, what do you mean you don't have it? It's the presenting beer.
But it was that big.
Well, what they said is they didn't think cowboys would drink that much beer. And I said, you don't know cowboys.
I was going to say, come on, guys. What are we doing here? This is NFR. This is NFR.
Run all day, you know. So the magnitude of that event over 10 days, we walked out on stage the first night. There was 25 people in the audience. By the time that performance was over, there was over 400 people in that room.
Right.
Well, that room was only fit for 250.
Yep, it was so cool. Man, I'm telling you, guys did a great job.
The next night, we doubled that.
Right.
And we continued to grow in numbers over the next 10 days, and it ended up being the most talked about, the most wanted party in Las Vegas. Now,
fast forward 2023.
A little bit further down the line, I had always been a Wrangler cowboy. I've always worn Wrangler. Small stint in high school because Cinch was a sponsor there. Right. So while I was president, I wore Cinch. But I meet David Sharp. David Sharp is another guy, man, that just he wants for you more than anything else. And so I send an email to him and I say, how can I be on Team Wrangler? How do I get to that level? And what I expected him to say was, you're not there yet. You know, we appreciate you reaching out,
right?
But it's not going to be something we look at right now. He sends me an email, and he says, I want you to tell me why you should be on Team Wrangler.
I like that.
And I said, okay. So we're driving back from the NFR, and we went to the Wrangler party that year, last year, and I just told him. I said, look, I have not worn anything other than Wrangler my whole life. All my heroes wore Wrangler. It's a brand that I connect with. I think there's no better cowboy clothing in the world, and this is something that I've been wanting for a long time.
Right.
And he said, and I put in that email, I said, look, I fully expect you to say no, but just understand that I'm not going to quit. And so I sent the email, and he replies back, and he says, I would love to have you on Team Wrangler. I think I love what you do. I love that you reached out to me and that you had the confidence to get turned down and you didn't. And you were tenacious about it. And he said, look, and this sticks with me. I think about this every day. David Sharp is basically Bob Tallman's right hand man.
Yeah.
If
Right
Bob Tallman needs something, David Sharp gets it, right?
Yep.
So he says to me in a text message, he said, I want you to believe in you the way I believe in you. David's never heard me announce ever. He's never been to an event that I've been on a microphone. And it gave me chills. It for some reason, solidified to me that I was in the right place.
What you're doing, right?
And so I've been thankful enough, to be on Team Wrangler. I've been thankful enough to be on Team Wrangler, this year. And man, I tell you what, they take care of you.
Great.
They outfitted my wife. They outfitted me.
It's we talked about it before. It's probably the most traditional brand in all of our Western culture. I mean, and it's
you can go anywhere in the country and somebody's wearing Wrangler jeans.
Absolutely. No, I mean, it's and I've heard that consistently, and they should take. I mean, the guys out there, the cowboys that are riding for the brand, the people that are wearing that brand every day. I don't care if it's if you're showing cattle, if you're riding horses, if you're out, if you're out working in the oil field.
Yeah.
That brand is synonymous for the Western industry.
Amen.
So,
and so being on Team Wrangler's a huge thing for me. Not so much in the way that, like, when you put a Wrangler shirt on and it says Wrangler down both sleeves and on the collar and on the wrist cuffs, and you're looked at differently.
Oh yeah.
You're looked at in a different light. You got to carry yourself in a way that's extremely professional. But I was already doing that before I had Wrangler on my body. So to me, it just made sense, and I want to be a torchbearer for Wrangler and a brand ambassador more than anything else, and let people know, like, if you're good people,
that's it.
You will get good things.
That's it. Absolutely. That's what we stand for. That's what we talk about all the time.
Look. This is the blessings that I've been given. I don't pay for boots. I don't pay for cowboy hats. I don't pay for sunglasses. I don't pay for clothing. In an economy where people are spending close to $9,000 more a year to live and eat, I consider myself blessed and highly favored to be able to represent the companies that I do, quality companies that I personally believe in. They believe in me. They give me the confidence to go out and do my job, to look good doing my job, and to also represent the industry that I have not known anything other than rodeo. And so if you're listening and you're wanting patches on your shirt, I'm going to tell you just like this. It doesn't happen falling off. It doesn't happen missing calves. It doesn't happen when you jump off your horse and miss a steer. It doesn't happen when you ride by one. It doesn't happen by knocking barrels down. All of those things will happen to you. All of those things are inevitable. The one thing about rodeo that's different than any other sport is that it's individual outside of team roping. And even in the team roping, you have an individual job.
That's it.
And
everybody's got a job.
You know what I mean? And so if you're cowboy, then go out and get it. Don't stop getting it. Don't stop ever pursuing what has been placed in your heart and your passion. If you do that, 9 times out of 10, man, you're going to be successful.
That's right.
If you just show up, you're not ever going to get me out of it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep showing up. And I'll tell you right now, yesterday we had a rodeo performance, and I was horseback. And being horseback and announcing adds an entirely different element of chaotic.
little different than being on the ground.
Right?
Or sitting in a seat.
Right. You got to pay attention.
Whole different element.
You got to pay attention to the crowd, and you still have to do your job.
Right.
And so grand entry time comes. It's 5 after 7. We're already late. I do the grand entry deal. My flag girls aren't ready. So I got 4,000 people sitting there. We've already lit bombs off.
Yes, sir.
We've already done the deal. And now we got a break in the bring up, right?
And your horseback.
and I'm horseback.
And you're horseback.
So being horseback as an announcer is a lot like being a quarterback in the NFL. They don't pay attention to anything else except for the guy riding the horse and the shafts, right? So I'm like, I say, hey, we're going to bring in the flag girls now. They're going to bring in the sponsors. Nobody comes in the arena. So I got to figure out what to do with this time, right? So I start telling story about the rodeo and how it started and how long we've been doing it and how cowboys start getting their deal, right? Well, about that time, the pickup men come hauling in there with their flags because they recognized as well, like, oh, Skip's in a bind. We got to do something. So they they come running in there. Well, the queen carrying the American flag was not supposed to come in that arena until I brought her in there. There's a whole lead up. Right? A whole lead up. And she's on a horse that's high-headed and running off, and she comes running through that arena with the American flag. She cuts off my pickup man. My pickup man holds his horse up. Could have caused a wreck. So the first 10 minutes of that rodeo were nothing but chaos.
Chaotic.
Right?
Chaotic.
And so we get that done. We do the prayer. We do the national anthem. The bucking horses leave the arena. I forgot to tell you, there was bucking horses in the arena.
Oh, my gosh.
At the time.
Yeah, that was ultimate chaos.
It was a mess. And so, and I worked for a great producer. He's great. But, so that first 10 minutes was rough, right? And I had a decision at that time to make between, do I let it frustrate me to the point where I can't do my job, or do I rise above and do I finish my job the way that I should finish the job? So we get through that performance, very little hiccups the rest of the way. We get done with that performance, and I sat down by myself. I needed a minute. I told my wife, I said, look, I'll be to the camper in a minute. I got to. And she says, hey, don't be hard on yourself. Like, you did as good a job as you could have done. Well, that might have been true. But as I said previously, I believe I'm one of the best in the world. And when things don't go right, and you are responsible for making things straighten out, it's you got to be hard on yourself, right? Like Mike Tyson always said, I don't care who you are. If you don't have tenacity, if you don't have character, you're nobody.
Right.
And so I took it hard. I was really frustrated. In a lot of those situations, you can blame everybody else for being late or not being ready or whatever. But I took that opportunity instead to say, hey, next time this happens,
what can I do?
What am I going to do to be more prepared, right?
That's right.
So 1:30 in the morning last night, I wrote a 10-minute script called The Fail Safe. So if anything happens at the beginning of that rodeo that ever screws us up, I can read that script and fill time.
It's good fallback.
Fill time.
Right.
And then if I don't get to that script because everything went right, I can get to that script later if something else goes wrong. Bulldogger's horse won't stand in the box or whatever, right? And so that moment taught me something. And if you can be teachable and coachable and accountable to yourself, I think that you can do whatever you want.
That's right.
The very best in the world don't rely on, well, I know how to do it, so I'm good enough.
Practice.
You should always be looking for that next thing that you can be better at. Looking at that, all that stuff that you can't just show up on Sunday, read the day sheet, and then do the rodeo. When the day sheet comes out on Tuesday, I get that day sheet. I go through the standings. I go through the draw. I go look at these cowboys and cowgirls. I figure out where they've won money, where they haven't won money, if they've had a bobble, an injury, whatever it might be. I write that down on my day sheet, and I keep notes on them all. And so I can tell a story to that crowd that may not understand what's happening right now in the arena. And I learned that from Scott Grover. Scott Grover knows more about rodeo history, I think, than most people know about their kids. I mean, the guy knows everything. And I didn't ask him a question, right? I just watched him do his job, and I was like, okay, that guy does not ever.
You were brought up by some good ones, man. You had some guys that really took you under their wing
Yeah.
and brought you up the ranks, and it shows. I told him last year as we were kind of talking to the 10 days or 2 weeks at NFR, I said, I'm telling you right now, I said, you impressed me so much. I'm going to tell you this. You're going to be the next Bob Tallman. And Bob Tallman's a good friend of mine. Bob Tallman, to me, is the pinnacle of announcers. I mean, and I know everybody's got their opinions on their favorite announcer or who they like, but I'm telling you right now, I've watched Bob my whole life and became friends with him, and he's an amazing man. But I'm telling you right now, this guy right here is going to be as good.
Well, speaking of Vegas, I'll tell you how that came about.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Shelby and I went to Vegas the year before, and we went to a watch party. And we left that watch party, and I was mad as a wet ham. And Shelby, we're walking down the street in Las Vegas, and she's like, she's probably 3 drinks in. She's having a great time. And she goes,
NFR, of course.
She goes, what's wrong with you? And I said, I want my own show in Vegas. And she's like, that's what you're mad about? And I said, no.
She's like, okay, Skip.
Yeah, no, I wasn't mad that I didn't have a show in Vegas. I was mad that I felt like I was good enough to be there, and I didn't find an opportunity to be there. So I'll tell her that in December of 2022. 21.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know where I was. I don't know what I was doing. Cody Oden calls me. And he says, hey, I would like you to host my show in Las Vegas.
Spoiler designs.
And I said, what? He said, I want you to announce and MC my event in Las Vegas. And I said, well, what is it? And he said, it's a watch party at the Westgate. And I said, you want me to host a watch party in Las Vegas during the NFL? He said, yes. Do you want to do it or not?
Crazy concept.
Yeah. And I said, yeah, I'll do it. He said, you don't even know what it pays. I said, I don't care. I'll do it. You can pay me a nickel. I don't give a dang.
Put my name in the hat.
Right. So
put my name in the hat.
Calls me, tells me that. We get the contract signed. We go to Las Vegas. And I walked out on that stage. And Las Vegas during the NFR is where everybody that rodeos or wants to rodeo or likes rodeo is at.
That's it.
Right?
And you strive to end up there.
You're rubbing elbows with world champions, with guys that are in the Hall of Fame, with guys that are just the top of the line rodeo contract personnel and everybody else.
Yep.
So we're in there, and we're doing that show. And I meet you there, and we hit it off, and we had a good time. And you came all 10 days, and a lot of people came all 10 days.
Yeah.
And after round 7, the Caldwell Night Rodeo, I think it's his son, one of the kids of the board members there at the Caldwell Night Rodeo, comes up to me and he was like, dude, do you announce the Caldwell Night Rodeo? And I said, nope, but I want to. And he goes, do you have a card? I'll give it to my dad. He's the president. Like,
you do now.
Figure it out.
You do now.
And so I gave him my information. And that happened to me pretty much every night for about 5 nights in a row. Some
right.
rodeo
you got somebody coming up to you. I don't doubt it.
And said, hey, you got
don't
a great voice. Like,
killed it.
Can we get your info? And I said, yeah. I said, here's the deal, though. I said, I don't have my pro card. And they said, what? Why? And I said, well, got to call the PRC and that's in. So I put in for my evaluation in 2022. And I think it was like March, somewhere around there. And I get a phone call from the University of Wyoming. And they said, hey, can you do our regional finals? I said, yeah, I can do it. They said, okay, cool. Well, Tyler Viles, who I've never met in person, he's a PBR announcer, gave them my number. He's never heard me announce before. Gave them my number. He said, this is the guy. They called me. Now, it's live on the Cowboy Channel. It's Summit Pro Rodeo. It's TV.
It's big audience.
It's big, right?
Big audience, brother.
Well, unbeknownst to me, short round Sunday at 11 o'clock, PRCA evaluators there to listen to me announce.
Good
So
stuff.
he hears me. About 3 days later, I get an email that says you've been denied for your card. And I said, oh, you just messed up. Because now I'm mad. And not mad in like I want to punch a hole in the drywall. I'm mad now that, all right,
I'm gonna make a point.
you can't tell me no more than twice,
right
you know?
on.
So,
So now you're getting after it.
so I read the letter. And the letter says, great voice, engaging, doesn't talk enough. Now, if you ask my wife that question, she'd tell you I talk the ears off a rock. So she reads the letter and she's stunned. She's like, there's no way. I said, that's what the PRCA said. That's what they said. That's what they're going to do. That's the end of it. And she's like, well, you got to reapply. And I said, okay, I'll reapply. So 2023 comes around.
Did you get it?
No.
Still haven't got it.
Still haven't got it.
But you're going to get it.
I'm going to get to that in a second.
You're going to get it.
So I throw my sucker in the dirt. I'm like, I'm not good enough, whatever, right? So 2 weeks ago, we're in Eric, Oklahoma at an ABBI event. Last year, Cord McCoy tells Chad Drury, that dude made a bull riding in a barn sound like a PBR. He is the real deal, and I want him. And Chad said, you can't have him. He's mine. So, and Cord never told me this. I heard this from Chad. And so 2 weeks ago, we're in Oklahoma, and I'm announcing. And, I mean, Andrew Alvidrez is there. There's another fellow there that's really handy. He's a Brazilian guy.
Those boys can hook, by the way.
Alex Cardozo's there, right? Been in the PBR World Finals.
Mm-hmm.
Cord's there. Cord walks up to me, and he says, hey, what do you charge to do a PRCA event? And I said, I don't have any idea. I don't have my pro card. And he goes, well, if you're not busy on September 30th, I'd like you to announce my PRCA rodeo in Bowie, Texas.
Oh!
And I said, I'll be there. So I get home, and I send him a message on Instagram, and I told him, I said, look, I'll do your event. This is what I'll charge you. I'll bring sound. I'll bring music. I said, but I don't have my card. I'm working on getting it.
Yep.
And he goes, all right, don't worry about it. We'll talk. And I said, I don't know how it works if a producer calls me and says, hey, this is the guy I want. I don't know how that works out. So there again, a guy that I had watched my whole life growing up
absolutely
comes up to me and says, I want you to, out of all the guys he could have asked, he asked the guy that doesn't have his card. Purely off of hearing me announce at a bull riding event, right? So that event in Bowie, Texas, my wife and I went to that event last year. One of my good friends from back east, she now lives in Oklahoma. She carries flags for Cord at his pro rodeo. And before all this happened, I had texted her and I said, whatever I got to do to announce for Cord, I'll do it. I don't care what it is. And she goes, well, I'll put a bug in his ear. And I don't know if she did or not. I don't have any idea. Bree, if you're listening and you did, thank you. But when a guy who has been in the PBR World Finals many times he has, the guy's been in the NFR, he owns the two-time world champ bucking bull of the year, sees something in you from that perspective.
Right.
Man, I'll tell you, like
you did it, dude.
There is zero. You cannot block a blessing, right? God will not allow anything to get in your way. When He has made a way for you, that's it. Like whether you like it or not, you better buckle your stuff.
You're there
because you're going.
You're right on.
And so, I anticipate that 2024 is going to be a busy year, a blessed year. I believe I'll probably be on the microphone more than I ever have in my life. We'll be in Las Vegas in December. We host a 10-day show out there at the Westgate.
Come see us.
You know,
come see us, guys. It's the best.
If you want to
it's the absolute best watch party in Vegas at the NFR.
It's right next to the convention. Like
freaking electric.
You can leave the convention,
and walk to Westgate,
and walk to the hotel, or you can get on the tram and ride it. It's
gonna be fun. It's gonna be better than last year.
Oh, it's gonna be way better than last year. But we have fun. We have a good time.
Absolutely.
We let our hair down, you know, and we do our best to make it feel as if you're sitting in a gold buckle seat
right there
at the NFL.
And he does an amazing job. So.
I appreciate you saying that, man. I really do. I've been blessed to do it. I've getting to be on here and tell my story, and
I appreciate you.
Being able to
Appreciate you being here, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Being able to just get
a
the
chance.
word out.
Get a chance, guys. If you're at any, just get on and check him out, because I'm telling you, I can sit here. We can talk for hours and days.
We could be on here. We could be on here for 3.5 hours if you wanted to.
We'd have to have Minnie bring some Pendleton.
Right.
But anyway, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reach out to our title sponsor, Ranch Texas, with Ranch Colorado soon behind. That's gonna be awesome.
That's gonna be great.
RanchTexas.com. Go check out all our cool ranches and all of our properties for sale, guys. It's been a great year, and it's time to buy dirt. So RanchTexas.com. Also, rodeo rigs out of Montana. The Beaver Box, everybody's favorite hat box in Oklahoma. Laredo conversions out of Weatherford, Texas. And I'm going to preface once again, the Cowboy Roundup out of Wyoming. Get on there, check it out. Please get serious about youth rodeo, because that's where it's at. It's bringing these youth up, and that Cowboy Roundup is a nonprofit rodeo clinic scholarship fund. So it's going for a great cause. So if you know of anybody wants to get involved, let us know. Okay. So I appreciate y'all once again. This has been amazing. Want to thank the Cheyenne Frontier Days Old West Museum for just opening up their arms once again. If you haven't been, you need to go. It's heritage, it's Western, it's cowboy at its best, and cowgirl. Sorry, ladies. So another lady I want to give a ton of love, because she gives us a ton of love. Pendleton Mindy, Pendleton Whiskey. Reach out to @Pendleton Mindy on Instagram. Tell her Cowboys, Trailers, and Ranches and Jimbo sent you, and she is going to send you a ton of love in the way of Pendleton swag. So can't give her enough love, and I appreciate her. So, buddy,
yeah,
I think it's time to call it a day. We might go get a little dinner or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is how we sign off. 1, 2, 3. Let her buck and keep it Western. We'll see y'all next week.